All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's fourth installment of the NJCAA Forward Webinar Series. I'm Ricky Webster with the NJCAA National Office, Director of Marketing and Communications. Over the last few weeks, we've hosted a number of webinar series as part of our NJCAA Forward initiative and as it relates to the fallout from COVID-19. As the NJCAA, as an association, we're built around sports, and as the coronavirus pandemic hit, our day-to-day responsibilities came to a halt. Today's session, Extending Your Brand and Content Without Sports, will look to provide insight and opportunities for your department during these difficult times. We're joined today by a pair of NJCAA content creators, Tim Slack, the Arizona Western Associate Athletic Director and Sports Information Director, as well as Tyler Nordman, Butler Associate Athletic Director. We're also joined by two NJCAA partners, Eric Rickabaugh, owner and creative director of Rickabaugh Graphics, the official logo design and branding partner of the NJCAA, as well as Clint Naegel of Kanopy, the official canopy and tent provider of the NJCAA. To kick today's webinar off, I'd like to introduce Tim Slack, Arizona Western's SID. Tim was hired to guide the Matadors Sports Information Department in 2018. Tim brings over a decade of professional sports experience that has taken him from California to North Carolina and now a home in Yuma. Tim, welcome to today's webinar, and see what you got.
Thanks, Ricky. I really appreciate the opportunity to kind of share what we're doing here at Arizona Western. I feel like we're a unique place in a lot of ways, but obviously the challenges that everybody are facing today are very similar. And for us, just to tell you a little bit about Arizona Western College, if you don't know, Yuma, Arizona, southwest corner of Arizona, about 15 minutes away from the California border, about 15 minutes away from the Mexico border. And the unique thing that presents for us, a big part of our community, obviously the locals in town, but every winter from about November, and then they stay through April, we have winter visitors coming from the Northwest and Canada. And a lot of them are older. That makes up a sizable portion of our demographic who we're communicating our message to, and they're huge Matador athletic supporters, and we rely on them a lot. So sometimes part of our challenge is getting them traditional media, and especially now with the way the pandemic has hit, they're not consuming the local paper as much, they're not consuming local TV, and a lot of them don't have even email addresses sometimes. So we have to find creative ways to reach out to them. But then at the same time, we're still speaking to student athletes, prospective students who are coming to Yuma, and finding that balance on social media and how we communicate. So there's a couple of principles that we guide a lot of our content by. And the first is just being authentic. And I'll kind of go through these a little bit more in depth, but being authentic just for us means if we wouldn't post it without the pandemic, we're not posting it now, and really showing our community who we are through our student athletes, what they're doing, what they're up to, and really trying to focus on the positive of how they're using this time to get better. Consistency is huge for us. When we post, why we post, where we post, and not blowing anybody out to the point where they are muting us or unfollowing us or anything like that on social media. We try to be as organic as possible. Don't spend a lot of money on social media because we have that avenue that I mentioned with traditional media that we have to maintain, but trying to find a way to continue to roll those followers, and I'll kind of talk about that in a minute as well. And then finally, just variety, not posting the same type of thing all the time. If we do a highlight video, then like to break that up with some pictures or some articles before we go to the next one or the next team. So just to kind of talk a little bit about our authenticity and kind of the rules that we guide a lot of our messaging by. Giving another idea, so I run all of our main accounts for our athletics, but each team and each coach have the ability and the access to put whatever they feel like they need to get out to prospective recruits, to the current team, what they want to showcase. And so sometimes a lot of what we're trying to do is kind of meld those approaches together. And so authenticity for us a lot of times, like I mentioned before, is posting things that we probably would have posted without the pandemic, you know, highlighting student successes, highlighting games and athletes that have accomplished some pretty remarkable things, both on the court, on the field, and in the classroom. And then the other part of that is obviously plan on posting after. You know, I'm limited, my coaches are limited a lot of times in what they can do. And so taking on projects that we wouldn't be able to carry on into the fall or into the spring when we get back to sports, just seems like something we don't want to start something that we can't finish and continue to do well. So that's something that we guide by. And then the third rule authentically is no posting just to post. We try to avoid just getting a post up for the day, because a lot of times that can, you know, dilute the brand, that can make people decide, I don't identify with that as much. And so we try to keep it to things that we feel passionate about, that we've created, that show off the students' ideas. One example, and we'll flip to the page that just kind of shows you some of the projects that we have worked on during the pandemic and during the shutdown. But that's a highlight video of our women's soccer season. We've had a couple of the best seasons we've had in the history of the women's soccer program. And there's an article there. There's a couple of touch points that we can send out. And like I was talking about with those avenues, I've broken that up to where the article goes out to a lot of our MAA members, and they're able to then land back on the website. But the video was shared on social media. It's shared between teammates, and that's something that prospective students can look at and see what we were able to accomplish. I think it's about a 5-minute video that I narrated. And the idea is just highlighting our students, and hopefully that's something that they can use. We talk a lot with our students about their social media is a lot like their resume page in today's day and age. So the more highlights we can give them, the more exciting things that let coaches and other schools know who they are, as well as their family members that are able to keep up with them. That's something that fits with what we're trying to do. And so that's something that's been posted in the last month or so. Another idea is just stuff that's shareable, that gets people excited about the program if they're new to us. So this is just a basketball player who has signed, who's planning on coming when we get back to it, and something that he shared on his pages. And you start to see people latch on to what we're doing. People who had no idea about Arizona Western now know, because he's sharing something that we've created, and kind of get the idea. It's all natural. It's all stuff that we're not spending money on social media wise to create likes. We're just trying to get the word out and spread that as organically as possible. And then another avenue that we've gone down too is just a lot more personal. Our volleyball coach uses Facebook very effectively. And so this is a sophomore that's leaving, that just had a birthday in the last couple of weeks. And just, again, natural content, stuff that we would do no matter what. But again, it just kind of fits in with what we're doing, and kind of trying to share the appreciation for what our student athletes have done, and just that they're a part of our family and a part of our team. So that's authenticity. Really care about being the same, that creating the same message, I should say, not being the same, but creating the same message and sharing the same message of positivity, success, and hopefulness that we do when we have sports. A big part of that, when we talk about guiding principles of when to post, is just being consistent, not posting to the point where people want to unfollow or mute us, but more than enough to where people aren't necessarily asking for what's going on with this athlete, what's going on with this team, that they're aware what people are up to right now, And while we may not have all the answers, we're certainly giving them a picture of what's going on, and they can be aware of that. Really good example, we have a new women's soccer coach, and he's done a fantastic job. He just did a Q&A on Instagram recently, and the amount of players who gravitated towards it, I think his team was fully locked in, but then they have their friends and their family getting to know him a little bit. And so that was just something that kind of broke through that wall where they're not having to come to the athletic department or anything like that asking questions. We're putting that information out for them to consume. And then the other thing about not over posting for us is preserving our value, you know, protecting what our message is, and not beating the drum so much that people want to turn off the message, that they want more and that they want to continue to see what we're putting out there. And then lastly is just variety. And I think a better word for this is probably originality. Again, to go back to our women's soccer program, they did a video where they got the incoming players along with the returning players. And it was the template that everybody's using of opening the fridge and pulling out an item, but it really showed off their personality. Just because everybody's doing it doesn't mean it's right for our brand or our program. But there are templates out there. There are things that lay the groundwork for our student athletes to show off their personality and for people to help identify with that. And that's something that we're 100% behind and supportive of allowing them to flex their creativity, because they are really who make up our identity. And then through that, we have different avenues with different platforms. Just because something goes on Twitter for maybe more kids to see doesn't mean that we send it out in a mailer or our electronic email blast. It goes to the people who would be the most responsive to it. And we try to keep those tones creative, meaning the messaging on our women's soccer Twitter might be a little bit different than the women's soccer Instagram, because those audiences are slightly different. So that's pretty much it. Those are the guidelines. I hope that's helpful, encouraging to other people as you're continuing to come up with ideas of what to do until we get back to sports. But this is something that's been working for us, and we hope to continue to push it forward. Really do want to thank Ricky and the NJCAA, especially with the NJCAA Forward. That has created a lot of great opportunities, and we really do feel like our student athletes have gravitated towards that, latched towards it, and it's something that's continued to push forward.
Thanks, Tim. We really appreciate it. Some great stuff from you. And like you said, the NJCAA Forward initiative has been great for the entire association. It's gotten a lot of people involved, and it's been good to see the different types of content that's really out there. And obviously Arizona Western is a big part of that. So really appreciate your help, and glad you could join us today.
Thanks.
As a reminder for everybody, we will host a Q&A at the end of this. So if you do have any questions for any of our presenters throughout the day, you can drop those into the chat, and we'll be able to get those to our presenters at the end. At this time, I'd like to introduce Eric Rickabaugh, owner and creative director of Rickabaugh Graphics, the NJCAA's official logo design and branding partner. Eric and the NJCAA teamed up in 2019 to provide an updated brand identity for the association through refinement of NJCAA logos. Since 1986, Eric Rickabaugh and his company has been creating successful and innovative brands for numerous companies and celebrities, including Coca-Cola, MGM, Mike Tyson, and now the NJCAA. Eric, welcome to today's webinar.
Thank you. It's great to, it's definitely great to be here. We're honored to be a part of this webinar and to provide some insights from our point of view. And so I really appreciate the NJCAA to ask us to be a part of this, and also just to have us be a part of the association. We enjoy the partnership and love being a part of junior college athletics, and it's something that we're very proud of. As was said, Rickabaugh Graphics has been in business for almost 34 years now, and for almost 30 years we've been specializing in collegiate branding for large schools and small schools. We're now finding that high schools are becoming a little more sophisticated, so we're doing more and more K through 12s as well. I've got a lot to share, so I just wanted to go through the real quick, just show you some samples of what we do. So on the next screen, we do a lot of athletic branding for our collegiate clients. It's where a lot of the return on investment is. There's lots of potential licensing income, and it's also what it really people enjoy and have fun with. So those are just a few examples. As I said, we've done probably 250 athletic collegiate brands. Next screen, we do a lot of things, but right now what's really big is mascots and mascot graphics, just because there's an awful lot of audience out there that's interested in your mascot, and also a little bit younger focused fans out there. So we've been doing a lot of that. Next screen is just kind of a catch-all. We do sort of a miscellaneous. Well, obviously we do mascot costumes. I've done quite a few. We're doing, I think, 4 or 5 right now. We do architectural and environmental graphics. We do trophy design, something we never thought we'd do, but we've been doing a lot of that. That's the Heroes Trophy for Nebraska and Iowa. And even we'll do anything that helps our collegiate clients. We help design the Arizona State pitchfork that the mascot plants on the football field. So we do a lot of things for our clients. So if you go to the next slide, it's really about today about extending your brand and content without sports. And a lot of our clients for the last month and a half or so have been coming to us looking for ideas for how to tackle the situation and to solve some of these issues. And so on the next slide there, these are some of the things they're asking us to figure out, asking us to do for them. One is a lot of our clients have certainly lost income, as I'm sure many of you have, with the loss of some of the definitely spring sports, and who knows what's coming. So if there's any way, a lot of what we do, the great thing about branding is that if it's done properly, it can create income, and it can go way beyond paying for itself. So they're coming to us looking for new income sources. They're also looking for ways to just engage and excite their fans. Their fans don't have the sports that they were used to having, and don't have as many things going on as even in their lives, much less in your sports programs. So they're just looking for ways to engage and excite their fans. And then something that we should all be doing all the time, at least I tell our clients, they should always be looking to strengthen, extend, and promote their athletic brand. But right now it's incredibly important, because we need to make sure that people don't lose sight of your athletic program and find other sources of entertainment and engagement and move on. Because so when your sports come back, you want to make sure they're still there. So these are things that they're asking us to accomplish for them. And then I always say, well, you've got a lot of tools at your disposal to accomplish these things, and there are things that we can use to accomplish these things for you. So some of the tools that you all have, would hope that you have a beloved athletics brand. It may not be your logos. I mean, a lot of schools don't have logos that are what they should be. Some do. But your athletics brand is about so much more than just the logos. It's about your traditions and your facilities and your coaches and your history, and everything works together. And if your fans love your brand and who you are, there's a lot to leverage right there. Also, right now, one of the things you have is more than ever a very hungry fan base. They're very desperate for engagement with your athletic program. They're missing things that aren't there. They're missing the sports that didn't happen. So they're really hungry for things right now, and you can engage them easily. Also, now this isn't true for everybody, why I have a question mark there. A lot of our clients now find that they have extra time with some of the sports gone, some of the other things gone. They actually have time to do things that maybe during the rest of the time they don't have. Now, I know this isn't true for everybody. Some people are busier than ever. But if you have a little extra time, this may be the opportunity to address things that you haven't been able to in the past. Also, you have fans that are right now online more than they ever have been before. Most of them are online every day now, just looking for a way to engage with other people and a way to be entertained. And they're not only on every day, they're almost on constantly. So they're really there and available for you. And this is a great time to connect with them. And then finally, this is one thing that we really find is their parents right now with homeschooling of kids and the kids being home for a long time, they're just desperate for things to entertain their children. And so that's something we can leverage and use to your advantage to provide that for them. And they will love you for it, and so will the kids. So those are some of the tools that we have available. And then I just wanted to show you quickly a few examples. And these are just a few examples of things that we're doing to help our clients, our collegiate clients at this time. And so this is probably not the most obvious, and that is doing an athletic branding. A lot of people think this is not a great time to be doing that. Funds are short, the students are gone. But actually, we're doing quite a few of these for our clients. And this is an example of one we did for Carroll Community College in Maryland. Right now, in some ways, it's a great time. One, these projects really increase licensing income. They generally increase licensing income for our clients around 300% and sometimes more. And so it can be a boost to your income. It is an investment, but it's an investment that will pay off for many years to come. Also, a lot of people say, well, there's no students, so how do we engage them? Well, actually, it's easier. I've been on focus groups the last 2 days with another community college in New York, and we've been doing focus groups, and we've had better attendance than we've ever had. In the past, we would have it at a classroom. We would entice them with something, pizza or something, and we would get a decent show up. But right now, they're all sitting at home in front of their computer, and this is a chance for them to do something with other people and to be engaged and to really be involved with their school, something they haven't been able to do. And so our engagement on focus groups is tremendous. So you can get increased licensing income. You can engage your students throughout the process and let them be involved and let them have fun and be entertained. And you can get media exposure when you're doing these kind of projects. And hopefully have a new brand that excites and entertains everybody and makes great school spirit. So I think you should, if you don't have a brand that's really very exciting and not working well, this is a good time to at least think about this. Now, if you're not, say you have great brand in place, or you're just not ready to do that, there are lots of things to do in other brand extensions. So for instance, we recently did anniversary, the 50th anniversary of football at Grand Valley State. And there's lots of things like this. It doesn't have to be an anniversary. It doesn't have to be, if you don't have something like that coming up, there's lots of things. You may have a wonderful tradition, something like, you know, we did Script Ohio, we did the traditions at Texas A&M, the 12th man. Every school has something that people love, that you may have a wonderful player, a wonderful team, a coach, but something you can celebrate. And it's not a large expense to create a brand built around that. You can create new retail product to generate some income, and you can create a summer-long celebration of that tradition or that anniversary of those teams and just look back over the summer. You can look at, and even into the fall, you can look at the great coaches, the great players, the great plays, the great teams, and just have a lot of engagement and fun, all built around this brand that really doesn't cost a whole lot to develop. And it gives you an excuse to have constant engagement with your fans. Another thing to do is to look at a throwback or faux back sort of a thing that you can promote. Again, this was for Grand Valley State. We have clients like this that are very proactive, and I love them because you should always be looking for reasons to celebrate. And so they decided they are the Lakers, but back in the day, they were thinking about being the Sawyers, which was kind of a lumberjack logging theme. Logging was a big deal back in those days. And so they asked us to create a faux back brand for them, built around the Sawyers and the lumberjack. We created the character, we created the brand, created a sub-brand with Fear the Flannel. And around that, we built, and they can continue to build, all kinds of events and all kinds of activities, and all kinds of new retail merchandise created. In their case, it's got a lot of stuff of flannel, things with suspenders printed on the t-shirts. They asked students and fans to dress up like the Sawyer and send in their picture, and then ask people to vote on the best person who looked most like the Sawyer. I mean, it was really a lot of fun. It continues to be. It's something they can do all the time. And so it gives them a lot of return on their investment. So those are just some ideas. Another thing that's going to be big, I think, is esports, because esports can be done, each player at their own location, and the virus does not limit it. So if you don't have an esports program, I encourage it. The NJCAA is certainly would be a great partner in helping you create that. I would suggest creating a strong brand around that. And something that I don't think is a strong brand is when you just take your athletic logo and put esports underneath it. Esports participants and esports fans, they are a different animal. And if you don't do something cool and fun and different for them, they won't respond. And so I strongly suggest you look at that in developing your esports and seeing what you can do with that. And so those are just some ideas in those kind of things. And then I have a couple last things. One about about your mascot and youth-centered branding. We have a lot of clients right now who are understanding that their mascots have really got so much potential, can do so many things. And a lot of our clients ask us to do graphics around their mascot. And if you don't have that, it's a smart thing to do, because they can have different attitudes, they can do different activities, they can do different sports, they can do all kinds of things that your athletic logo cannot. And so a lot of people are asking us to create their mascot graphics in different situations. Like we've done a lot of graduation mascots, a lot of mascots in viral protective masks, all kinds of things that really just, and it's something you can send out all the time and just really engage and entertain people. And as you can see in the bottom there, we've been doing a lot of baby mascot graphics, because baby mascot graphics can go on a whole different line of product, like bibs and baby bottles and all kinds of things. And they also, they can engage and entertain parents and grandparents. Another thing is, if you don't have a kids club brand, you really should create one. Sorry. This is our kids club brand for the University of Iowa. The great thing about kids clubs, it's an inexpensive thing to do. And it gives you an excuse to engage your fans periodically, constantly, with activities for their children, which right now they love. And one thing we've been doing a lot of lately is creating activity books and coloring books for our clients. The nice thing about these kind of things is you can print this and sell it as retail item, and it's very popular, or you can distribute the pages, say one at a time per week. You can email out or offer up a page for the kids to color or an activity for them to do. And again, the parents will love it, and it gives you a reason to engage them once a week. And then, so I would definitely think about youth branding. And then finally, this is the last one. As I said, they're all your fans are online right now. So one thing we've been doing a lot of is emoji stickers. People love these. They're doing a lot of emailing and Facebook posting and Instagram posts. And if you can create a line of emoji stickers built around your mascot doing different things, as you can see here, the grad and the protective mask and all these different things. And you can distribute these all at once if you want, or you can distribute them one at a time, and again, gives you an excuse to engage people and they look forward to it. And it becomes a real item. And it's an inexpensive thing to do. So I think that's something to think about. We've been doing a lot of that. And the other nice thing is that we're currently, we know a lot of our clients are, this is not the normal time, so we're providing discounts for the pandemic. Also for a couple of clients, we're deferring their payment into the fall just to get them through these times, but also to allow them to do what they need to do right now when it counts. So those are just a few ideas. If you want to talk any further, feel free to reach out to myself. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Eric. We really appreciate it. And Eric's done a lot of great things for our association. He helped unveil the 2019-20 NJCAA Championship logo collection that we unveiled this year. We got a lot of great feedback for it. So very appreciative of your help, and thanks for joining us today, Eric. At this time, we'd like to welcome Clint Naegel of Kanopy, the official canopy and tent company of the NJCAA. Clint is the account executive for Kanopy, the Denver-based company that has been a partner of the NJCAA since 2019. Clint, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Ricky. I appreciate you having me on here. Definitely, I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of our canopies out there, and seeing all those graphics and seeing those logos that Rickabaugh has done is exciting, because that's what we do is large format printing and specialize in canopies. We do have a wide variety of products that I encourage you to check out on kdcanopy.com. And we're the official canopy tent provider, and we will be for the next few years. And so we're providing deep discounts on full color canopies and accessories. And so tell you a little bit about KD Canopy. We've been in business for over 35 years now. We are one of the original patent holders for the pop-up tent and tension tent. And so we are well versed and make a quality product. And I have a few slides here in a second that I'll go through to just kind of show you some of the products. But in regards to the topic today and extending your brand and content without sports, for me, I guess I would just really suggest your staff, your athletes, to reach out and connect with the community, whether that's directly around the campuses, your online community, your sports following through social media, just all the good ideas that Tim had and Eric had, and in doing that, just because of the fact that, as a big sports fan myself, when all these events canceled, it was like, you felt like a part of you died almost. It's just, the pandemic's hard to deal with, and not having sports is even more difficult. It's unlike a recession. It's unlike a depression, where you can kind of have those things to check out and help you with the daily stresses of life. And so I'm not sure exactly what that would entail, but anything from, I think, a simple smile and a wave from passing traffic around the campus, and maybe taking a 10x10 branded canopy and using social distancing still, and not saying making large groups or anything like that. But the canopies we provide are quality products that have a very big impact, and seeing your logo in a wide format definitely catches people's eye and make sure to pay attention to you. And so, you know, we in the last few months have been producing canopies and tents for first responders, for hospitals, for testing sites, for a bunch of basically the very essential or the first responder group. And that makes sense to me because colleges are shut down and athletics are shut down. But moving forward, you know, I feel like in getting in the public eye and knowing that, you know, your athletes are out there and we're supporting them and reminding them to, you know, they're going to be purchasing the apparel, purchasing your tickets, and that, you know, we all know sports are not going away anytime soon. You know, they're going to be back. And so, you know, I know budget concerns and monetary things, and as far as making a canopy purchase or purchasing one of our tents is definitely something that I can totally appreciate. But our products are meant to last a lifetime, meant to last a long time. So whether you're extending your brand now and then also using it in the future, these are products that you're not going to regret having. There's a plethora of purposes that you can use them for, whether it's on campus, off campus, promoting, etc. And again, we do have other products that I encourage you to check out on kdcanopy.com. And so I guess that would be my suggestion in general, is just really making sure that that community is there, because I know if I were to see my local college, favorite college team, some jerseys, some people, you know, just even a wave and a smile would probably make my day, and remind me that, you know, sports are going to be back, and that we're going to try and get back to a quote unquote normal. Obviously that's with adjustments and everything else. And, you know, I'm not suggesting any group gatherings or anything outside, you know, what the guidelines are suggesting right now, because I want everyone to be safe. But, you know, just consider that, you know, while we have the time, make sure and get the products that are going to market your brand appropriately. So with that being said, I'll go to the next slide, which is showing just a few of our examples. You know, we have 10 by 10, 10 by 15s. We also have 10 by 20s, all the way down to 5 by 5s and 8 by 8s. We offer them in 3 different frame models, from a commercial grade steel, aluminum, and then an industrial grade aluminum. The next one is showing the 10 by 10 Chalet, which is a very fun tent, just because of the fact that you get additional branding down the sides of the legs there. It's showing that back wall, so there's a canopy accessories that can be branded as well. So our products are not only a great marketing tool, but they are functional and they are durable. The next slide is showing a 10 by 20 again here. And so, you know, you can see that that logo makes a statement. You can see that tent makes a statement, and, you know, is going to promote your brand and bring that community together, bring your athletes together, and that's still considering safe, you know, distancing and everything that is still going on. And then we make a wide variety of sizes of tents. In the next slide, we have star shades and star twins and the star stage. What these are single pole and twin pole tension tents. And so we will help with all of the designing part of it, using those awesome graphics and logos that Rickabaugh is creating, and that the logos that you already have, and so that we can make a tent that really stands out. And as you can see, there's, you know, all the way down from a small 200 square feet to the ST 1300, which is our Star Twin 1300 at over 1300 square feet. So, you know, space and eye-catching and something that's different. They're very easy to set up. The bases, it comes with a measuring cable to outline where you're supposed to stake your anchors, and then the poles in the center are telescoping so that it creates that tension, and it's just a very unique look. It's fun. And, you know, I definitely think that that's going to extend your brand, and seeing that marketing and seeing the logo, whether it's just around campus or taking it somewhere else. And the next slide is basically just showing that, we are the canopy provider for the NJCAA, and we're providing a deep discount on full color custom printed tents, and we will help you with that design, as I mentioned. And so we realize that, again, budget and monetary restraints are definitely something to be considered right now, but these things are going to last a long time. We have ever replacement parts. They are commercial grade. And so here's some of the pricing, and I'm going to send that out again. I'm going to probably do another email burst, and I've done one before. So hopefully the majority of you have gotten my pricing, and I'm looking forward to working with you, because I've worked with professional sports teams throughout the nation, high schools, college athletics, all through it. And it's slowed down considerably, and I can totally understand the concern, but at this point, I think it's time for us to start thinking of ways to get out there physically, getting out there in the media's eye, in the public's eye, and doing it safely, but it encourages and excites people for the time that we can get back to sports, the time that we can get back to events. So I guess overall, and the last thing that I want to leave with you is that we're here for you. We want to be able to provide you with the products that you need, the marketing things that you need. And if there's any questions about the specifics of our products, I would be happy to discuss that with everyone. And definitely looking forward to just hearing from everyone as things start to open back up and sports are gonna be back. And I know I'm excited. I know everyone that's listening and watching this is definitely excited as well. So I appreciate the NJCAA and look forward to hearing from you all.
Thanks, Clint. Yeah, I couldn't agree more about sports returning. Katie Kanopy, they were very instrumental for us this year in enhancing our brand. We had a number of tents around the country, our national championship events, and really kind of elevated our events that we had. So we appreciate all you guys do for the NJCAA, and we're glad to have you on today.
Absolutely. I appreciate it.
Our final presenter today is Tyler Nordman, the Associate Athletic Director for the Butler Grizzlies. Tyler joined Butler in 2019 following 7 years at Highland, where he helped greatly enhance the Scotty's overall brand, social media, live streaming presence. He did it all out there, and now he's doing it all with Butler. Mr. Nordman, take it away.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, Ricky. Good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here. I appreciate the NJCAA putting on this NJCAA Forward Webinar Series, and it's great to be part of it today. Thanks, Tim, Eric, and Clint for all your words and your message today. Tim touched on a lot of great points, so I hope not to repeat too much of what he said, but let's just go ahead and jump right in. So the theme today is maintaining your brand and content without sports. Obviously, this is something we've never had to do before. But just because we're in a pandemic and we don't have games or events going on, that doesn't mean that we can become stagnant with our content. I feel people now more than ever, they're wanting that information. We need to show up and give them what we can. We need to continue to be the focal point for our students and fans. Providing that content and information that they want for our people now is more important than ever. We, and when I say we, I mean athletic departments, especially within the NJCAA, we need to be seen. We can't be seen in person at a ball game, at a sporting event, so we got to find creative ways to get our brand out there, to get our content out there, to be seen and be out in the public. Your people are still looking and wanting that content. Eric, you mentioned it earlier, just a minute ago, your fans are hungry, and I couldn't agree with that more. The small wins we can provide our fans with each day will make a big difference in their lives. This can be done in a number of ways, and I've seen a lot of schools using creative ways to showcase their programs. For example, highlighting your sophomores that aren't going to get a spring sophomore day after their season, doing different game day flashbacks, rewinds, showcasing major moments in your program's history that have happened over the years. Those are all great ways to kind of keep fresh content out there, to bring back some good memories and kind of spark some interest within your following and your fans out there in the digital world. To give another quick example of being seen and how to continue to your brand and your content to be seen, if you could just show this quick video, we'll watch this real quick and then we'll talk a little more about it. So you couldn't hear the awesome audio that was along with that, but that's okay. I hope you get the point. This is a video we put together that we had a few goals and outcomes in mind when piecing it together. One is we wanted to provide hope with the theme of we will be back, pushing out to our fans that, hey, I know we're going through some tough times right now, but we will be back. But we also wanted to showcase some of our great facilities. We found that this was an opportunity to do so, and to have an attentive audience as well to watch. We're very happy with the way it turned out. It got a 16.4 thousand impressions on just Twitter alone. We also put it out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, some of the other social media platforms. And it was just a good way for Butler athletics to be seen during this pandemic. We also need to take action, do what we can to help and support your students, your coaches, your staff, obviously your supporters and fans. People will remember how you responded and some of the things you did during COVID-19. Things like highlighting your sponsors who might be struggling right now and encouraging people to support them, especially some of the restaurants going out and doing the carry-out orders. Highlighting your graduates. I know finals week for a lot of people just wrapped up, so highlighting those. The sophomores, your amazing staff and coaches, that we don't want to forget about those who have invested so much time into our institutions and the programs over the last few years. Although our days seem to change by the hour, everyone's focus needs to be taken care of today, but we can't forget to prepare for what's next. What are your game days going to look like? What changes do we need to prepare for and work forward on when sports do come back, hopefully this fall? Start talking within your teams on what a return looks like, what will need changed, what changes with the brand, with the content you're going to put out are going to need to be made, what adjustments are you going to have to tweak once we all come back from this. Start having those conversations so everybody's on top of it and ready to roll once we do come back to a little bit of normal in regards to sports, hopefully this fall. And lastly, over communicate. I can't stress this one enough. Obviously, during times of uncertainty, people want more than anything, I think, is information. They want to know what's going on. So from the beginning of this pandemic, we at Butler, we have been upfront with all of our students, our coaches, our boosters, our key stakeholders. We've kept them as informed as possible with things that are happening around the NJCAA, our conference, our region, and obviously things that are happening within the institution. This communication to our peoples come from different forms, emailing, obviously posting announcements and stories on our website and obviously our social media platforms, but it's been effective. We've got a lot of great feedback from people saying basically just thank you. Thanks for keeping us involved. Thanks for keeping us in the loop. I know you don't have all the answers, but we appreciate what you can provide. So that's been good. So if you're not reaching out to any of your fans, your season ticket holders, I suggest maybe or encourage you to do so. It's a good way to keep them in the loop and make them feel still a part of the programs, even though nothing's going on right now. So what COVID-19 has done, among a number of things, it's taken us out of being automatic. We don't have our normal, and I know some of you on this call, you know what the spring looks like. You got Tuesday baseball, Wednesday softball, Thursday baseball, tournament, Saturday, you know, things are all going on, Saturday track. So it takes you out of your automatic. We don't have our Monday Player of the Week nominations anymore. We don't have our weekly face-to-face meetings with our student workers talking about, okay, here's what we have for the week. So we've had to become a little bit more intentional with what we're doing, intentional on how we're spending our time and what we put out in regards to content from the SID standpoint. The question at the end of this thing will be, did you build as a department during the pandemic or did you get buried? So COVID-19, it's also created a new set of opportunities for institutions, I think, and athletic departments, opportunities to do things we've all said, you all know it, some of you for sure, we don't have time for. Well, we now have the time. Updating websites, profiles, records are just a few examples of some of those things that I know we all talk about, oh, we don't have time to do that, but we got the time now. So take advantage of that. We've also been presented with opportunities to connect with our fans and students in a different and virtual way, kind of like what we're doing today. So try to utilize some of those opportunities to have a meeting with season ticket holders, to set up different meetings with your student groups, your student workers, your different teams, be visible on those platforms. And lastly, this pandemic has given us a chance to be more creative. Everyone talks about, you know, in normal life, everyone used to talk about, hey, get outside the box in your thinking, get outside your comfort level a little bit. Well, that box is no longer there after COVID-19. The creativity I see happening around athletics, NJCAA athletics in general, it's been amazing. COVID's done a lot of bad things, I think, obviously to us. It's flipped our worlds upside down, but what it has done is it has allowed us to get creative and those creative juices to start flowing. I love seeing what some of the SIDs and marketing departments are taking advantage of during these tough times to showcase their schools and their brands. Just jump over to Twitter if you haven't in a while, or Instagram, just to see what athletic departments are doing. This is a screenshot I took before today's presentation of just our Twitter analytics over the last 28 days. And to be honest, I hadn't even checked it till today. But in every category at the top there, you see everything spiked for us because we've had opportunities to get creative, to be intentional with our content, and the response has been very well received from our followers. So I suggest take advantage of some of these opportunities. Check your Twitter analytics, Facebook analytics, if you are doing a lot of this, just to kind of see those numbers. If you are a data person, just to see what's going on with your fans. I think you have a very attentive audience right now with everyone at home scrolling through their phones, not a lot going on. They're pretty bored, so they want to see what's going on. So we got a great opportunity to be visible in the social media world. As we move forward and we continue to navigate these unprecedented times, we need to continue to keep our people connected. As I talked about earlier, don't go silent. Continue to keep pushing out that material to them that they want. Obviously, we don't have all the answers, but give them what you can. Try to keep them as connected as possible during those tough times. Utilizing social media polls and different engagement opportunities to continue that connection are just a few ways you can keep some of your fans and people on social media involved. I want to send a shout out right now, obviously, to Blue Frame and the Production Trucker Championships going on. That's a great contest and Twitter poll that's been going on the last few weeks, and it's given a number of schools, including us at Butler, to get involved, and we've seen a lot of really good feedback from some of those things. So thank you, Blue Frame. If any of you guys are on this call, that's been great. We've all been sent down this detour, and obviously it's a detour. There's not a lot of signs, and we're not sure how long this thing is going to last. But as I mentioned earlier, continue to take advantage of those opportunities that do present themselves. I think now more than ever, people are engaged on social media. They're checking their emails, especially students right now with the online platforms we've had to move to. So use that to your advantage. We must learn to be adaptable and flexible and be able to see things a little bit differently now. And then continue to push forward. It's uncharted waters for you. It's uncharted waters for everyone else. As long as your students, your coaches, your staff, your fans, as long as they feel connected, they will continue to have trust in you, have trust in your brand, and support the brand and your institution, your athletic department as much as they can. And to close, and I hate to say it, but I don't think there's no going back to the way it used to be, unfortunately. In some cases, there will be a little bit of that. But the pandemic's forever changed our lives. This pandemic, we're just gonna have to adjust. We all know the famous words, the only constant in life is change. Well, we've seen a lot of significant changes over the last few months, and we'll continue to see more. But I think it's how we adjust and how we embrace those changes as an institution, as an athletic program, that people are really gonna remember. So with that, thank you for tuning in today. Best of luck as we all continue to navigate our way through this, but we're doing it together as an association. And thank you again, NJCAA and Ricky, for putting this on. Go Grizzlies.
Tyler, great to hear from you. Thanks a lot for your presentation today. Butler does a lot of great things throughout the year on social media, and they've definitely upped their game throughout this time. So enjoy seeing what you guys can do, and we appreciate you having on today. At this time, we'd like to open up a bit of a Q&A. We usually provide our presenters a little opportunity to answer some questions from our membership. We did get one in here. This one is geared towards Tyler and Tim. Tyler, it looks like you kind of touched on it a little bit, but how does your current content strategy affect your content strategy once sports do return?
Yeah, Tim, do you want to start? You want me to go?
Go for it.
Trying to find that question. Read that question again for me real quick, Ricky.
Yep. It's how does your current content strategy affect your content strategy once sports do return?
So yeah, I think it's going to be a blend of both. Obviously, we haven't had sports to cover right now, game recaps, players of the week, things like that. But what we have been able to do is kind of push in more. We've pushed out a lot of, what we've done at Butler is, flashbacks, games, and I think people like that. So as we continue to write our current recaps in the fall, when sports do start, our current players of the week, I think we're going to continue to incorporate some of that flashback stuff. One, that engages your alumni a little more, and it's nice for some of your current students and following to kind of see the tradition of your institution, the tradition of Butler, where they've come from and things like that. So
I think I agree with what Tyler says. The only thing that we've maybe deviated from a little bit is we've kind of taken it through the lens of if we don't think we can keep doing it in the fall and the spring when sports do come back, we're really not trying to add to it. We get stretched thin, and Tyler was talking a lot about the routine that just can kind of be a grind. I think everybody feels that from time to time, the reasons why we put stuff off. Our institution as a whole has been on a big kick of focusing on things that we're doing well and continuing to do them at our best, but stop doing the things that we're not doing well. So when we've kind of evaluated some of this content, I'm about to go do an athletic training video that is going to be a part of what we're doing in the future, having recruiting videos that change from year to year, and that's going to be an annual thing on our calendar. Without the pandemic, it'd be a lot harder to do that now, but we can get ahead, and so that kind of provides us with the time that we didn't have before to get it started, but that's going to be something that's going to be a part of our routine that we feel like is important to our teams and to our student athletes.
Thanks, gentlemen. Next question we've got for Eric here. Eric, there's been some debate on our campus as to the advantages and disadvantages of applying a trademark to our unique athletics logo. I would love to hear your opinion on the subject.
Well, first of all, hopefully you own the trademark. We know a lot of colleges and universities out there who think they own the trademark, and then you find out they don't really. But if you do, all you can say is that, and I'm not a legal expert, but I have been in this business a long time, and I know that if you put the TM on your marks, it provides a notice that you consider these to be your exclusive property. If you have to go after somebody or somebody challenges you, but more likely if you have to go after somebody for using your marks, the fact that you've identified it as your trademark by putting a TM on it will strengthen your case in court. That's the reason for having it. We encourage our clients to have it. We encourage our clients to register the trademark if you have the opportunity and want to do so. It really strengthens your case court. So I recommend it, but it's not like it's required, but it'll certainly improve your case if you go to court.
Thank you, Eric.
Sure.
Another question for Tyler and Tim. What plans are you making moving forward in social media and promotions for the fall sports with an uncertain future?
Yeah, Jake, that's a good question. To be honest, I mean, just kind of thinking right now, some of the social media stuff you're going to need to be putting out is in regards to seating, ticket gates. How many people can come in at once? If the gates open at 5, how are you going to stagger those things out? Maybe maps of sanitizer stations. How is Butler going to handle restroom cleaning? How are they going to handle serving food at concession stands? What protocols are some of the people, the ticket takers, the concession workers, things like that? What protocols are they going through to make sure the safety of all our fans, students, and all those involved, all the safety things are being met? So I think just a lot more communication in regards to logistics of, stuff you never really thought about until now. I'm sure some of you feel this. You're walking through the store and now you're looking at people like, oh, do you have it? Don't touch me. Don't, things like that. So there's going to be a lot of hesitant people, I think, coming back into your arenas and stadiums that You're going to have to create signage for and just really openly communicate with them. Your PA announcer, I assume, would probably like to make some announcements pregame. Hey, the restrooms are here. Hey, no more than X amount of people in the concession line. We're going to have to really think a lot more about some of those logistics I think we took for granted before this happened.
I think on a different note, just in terms of preparation, what we're trying to do is just get everything ready. I think that because it's so uncertain, just talking with our soccer coaches about the fall yesterday, and they were trying to gauge feelings. And I said, in terms of their media guides and their promotional material, we're trying to prepare to have that ready to go whenever that may be. Now, if schedules change, if like Tyler was saying, if some of the logistics change, then those are things as they come down, we're going to be ready to do. But for the most part, we're trying the things that we feel like could be similar, like a roster or something like that, in terms of what we're putting out. We're trying to have that as ready as possible, so that if there is a green light, we're ready to go.
Absolutely, Tim. It's great. Always got to be prepared, especially with everything coming up with the unknown. So we appreciate your answers on that. It's great. And we're just over an hour now, so I think we'll wrap things up here. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us today. Tyler and Tim, Eric, Clint, great having you guys on, and we appreciate all you do for the NJCAA. That'll do it for the fourth installment of the NJCAA Forward Webinar Series. Like I said, we appreciate having you all on. This recording will be available on NJCAA Connect a little bit later tonight following today's session. We'd like to mention that next week's webinar will be the fifth installment, and we encourage you all to register for that through NJCAA Connect. It's actually a pretty exciting session for us, and it'll feature NJCAA student athletes and alumni, and they'll be talking about a panel discussion of being on the front lines, NJCAA students on the front lines. So we're looking forward to that, and that's 3:00 p.m. Eastern on Thursday, May 21st. So we encourage you all to register for that as well. We appreciate everybody joining us today. Great sessions, great discussions, and we hope you all stay safe out there.